So the question, it's not a question, it's just the question, I guess, is power. What is power? And I think that the best way to look at what power is to look at the world and look at the world. Look through your eyes and look through your objective ability to see what the world is, what power is. And a lot of people are asleep around this. And what I mean by that is that even though they feel power struggles or they see the deception and they're interacting with it or it's interacting with them, a lot of people don't know how to stand inside the accountability process of all this. Oh, maybe a lot of people do. I don't know. It takes time to learn these things. And I'm just curious how interested people are to understand what personal power is and empowerment. So, we live in a projection field. People are projecting. We're being expected to be something. And that's not such a bad thing. But power. Power is everything. And not everybody's driven by power, but for those people who are, a good way to understand or to start interacting with your power is to, well, for one, you want to ask, who am I? And for some, you want to ask, who are they? Power has, power. I guess it's a big topic. Even just sitting with the feeling of it is just nice, It's nice to sit with power. I support people being in their power, and it's a very adventurous journey, because where there's power, there's ego, and where there's ego, there's the mind, and where there's the mind, there's a separate reality. There's a separate source. And I'm not saying any of this is bad. That's the thing about doing spiritual work with me. None of this is bad. This is the education that I like to provide for people. And it isn't necessarily the words I'm speaking, but it's where I'm speaking it from. And it's how everything that we have is accessible to us to awaken. It doesn't matter everything is, and awakening is scary. It's painful. I'll always say that. Fear and awakening go hand in hand. So, where power is the confrontation. Power is in being present. Power dynamics are exploding everywhere. Some people, working well within the power dynamic. And some people like to fall asleep in the power dynamics and they just take the back seat because it's easier. They just become the submissive and they, chalk it up to what it is. And there's a limitation on one's personal power at that point. Everything's like accessing it. We have to knock on the door for the door to open. And, it's like the door of one's heart, the door of one's soul. Knocking on that door, letting it know you're there. This is a relationship that we need to develop. As much as, people have soul connection with themselves, I think. I'm not around enough people to really know. I mean, and the people that I'm around, people are, nice and friendly. And who's to say what's going on inside, behind it all? But power, if we were in power, there's a different level of creation and productivity around real power. And the word destruction inside a power structure has a different meaning and purpose than destruction inside, a power structure that's being governed by the mind and the ego. And I think that that's on a planetary scale what we've been under the spell of a power structure called Earth and its grid, and it's, and it's been created by the mind and the ego. And if you think you're not impacted by it, that's kind of Pollyannish. And this is what I'm talking about in this projection field. It's important that we take account for the world we live in, whether our immediate environment, our relationships, our overall globe. And I don't think anybody's ascended at all yet. I think the ascension process is going into it, is looking at it, is seeing the dysfunction, seeing the disconnect. So power, energy power, spiritual power, power of the heart. This is understanding what relationship you have to what's behind the door. I'll call it the door of your heart. And in a mind-driven world, yes, the heart is shut down. And a lot of new age spiritual people have in the past tried to live in their heart and follow their heart and follow your heart and the rest will happen. And, the money will come and the love will come. And I don't know. I've been doing quantum work. That's what my heart has been invested in. Undoing the quantum entanglement that's been going on everywhere. it's like seaweed. And I'm talking about it, it's like psychic. People don't understand how prevalent the psychic world is, and it's the mental energy, the mental body, and that we live in this highly technological world. And a lot of our awareness and function is up in the mind, up in the mental, which is it's close to the psychic. Long distance interaction, all this phone stuff and everything, it's very psychic. And I think that what separates my videos from most everyone else is that I'm not relating to the psychic field right now. I'm literally just being present. Because I've untangled my relationship to the distorted astral field of planet Earth. And no, I didn't do it overnight. And yeah, I did think I was crazy at sometimes committing my energy to such a feat. But now I'm here to say that, yeah, the astral field is the mental confusion that we live in. And along with that comes emotional confusion. And then there's psychic distortion and dealing with these pains, dealing with this confusion, dealing with this mental, nobody's above it. Looking at this stuff is, in the quantum, one way to start addressing our power. Sometimes it's good to, when we're talking about power, it's like, well, where do I don't have my power? And it's important to be able to look at oneself objectively like that without getting defensive or feeling like you have something to be ashamed of or that something's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. That's not the point of all this. So there's power in opening up your mind. Having an open mind is very powerful. And it's probably so powerful. And, with all the censorship going on and the interesting stuff going on lately in the past years, it's important to step back and see that, the power of the mind, the power of consciousness, the power of thought, the power of that process, and that the power play is to shut it down, to control it. So where there's control and manipulation, there's power that is coming from a place that's not clear. And it's power coming from a place that's not aligned with oneself and one's higher self and access to just consciousness. Consciousness doesn't have a moral motive. Consciousness is intelligence running correctly. And That means all parts included. So power is a immense subject, and even in this little video, I don't even feel like I touched it. That's how big this big power is, that the subject of power on this planet. I believe it's a power grid that we've been existing on, and the mindset of it has been power over. And and it's changing. And yeah, I feel like I've been interacting with the change for years. Just the power over games, that's not correct. It doesn't have harmony in it. It doesn't have real peace in it. Anyway, it's a complex word, complex subject, opens up many doors. It's a conversation worth having with other people and not with a phone here to transmit to public, to you guys. So power, where's your power? What does power feel like? Is power part of the pleasure-pain principle? Is it? A lot of people think it is. A lot of people think it is, unconsciously. And that's okay. But is it? Is it even part of the pleasure-pain principles? Or is that just a whole other function? And it's important to learn what your power is to balance out the pain-pleasure and move into something more central, more core, more connected, more, constitutional energy, self. Okay, well, enjoy that, and more power to you. Okay, bye.